They're like, well, I'll probably go for like the Matador's Cape Red. Little do you realize the famous cover of the book that is over 80 years old is a famous red cover. So you view things one way, I view them another.
When did you first read the book? Is it something that you knew?
After I did the movie. Now, I was well aware of the book. It's been showcased. I mean, the famous monologue in the movie Blindside with Sandra Bullock and the giant offensive tackle, the story reaches so many folks and has been publicized and popularized for so long. I just have never read it until after the movie.
What did you take away from the book most of all?
Mike, what a timeless, wonderful story about being yourself. No matter, like it consistently says, all the other bulls, all they wanted to do was fight. Not Ferdinand, he just wanted to smell the flowers and he was happy. And there's a wonderful excerpt from the book where Ferdinand's mom inquires, like, Ferdinand, why don't you run around and fight? Ferdinand says, no, I'm happy. And there's a wonderful line, and keep in mind it's 80 years old. His mother, even though she was a cow, understood that Ferdinand wouldn't be lonely and that he's happy. Like it's a really cool message to send that long ago and continuously. Like the book holds up today. It's really good.
So when you're about to sign on for the film, obviously, are you concerned about capturing that same spirit in translating?
No, I guess it's just like a weird sense of confidence that I have in the folks around me, and they came to me and wanted to know if I wanted to be Ferdinand, and I said I would be honored to be Ferdinand. And then the reason I didn't want to read the book before is because I know that the book is very short and the movie is very long, and I didn't want to get too held down by the book, to kind of put any inhibitions or preconceived notions in my head about the movie. They created a bunch of new characters for the movie, and they created a kind of a different world for the movie, but it really is fantastic. So it wasn't like it was a great honor to be chosen in a thing that I just went into with zero inhibitions.
What was the most memorable part of the process of making it for you?
Seeing the animators when you're voicing your character. You can see like they are meant to do what they do. They're so imaginative and they have a world in their head and they use their skills to bring it to life. And like I love storytelling, man. I could waste all your data on the phone about like the dynamics of storytelling, and I love, especially I gravitate towards storytelling in front of a live audience because you can see and feel and experience the reaction. And my audience in the sound booth was 2 animators and Carlos, because you could see them get excited and you could just feel them wanting to create things. That was by far, I mean, seeing the movie is something special. But it was really cool to be like, yeah, those people love their job, and this is awesome. I knew in the first voice session, I'm like, I'm in good hands. This is gonna be great.
Excellent. So I wanted to talk about your career, how it's played out in film, particularly. What did you originally intend your film career to be? Did you think that you were going to be like a Marine action hero?
Originally, my film career was a direction from upper management of like, hey, go do movies. So originally, what I wanted my film career to be was, I guess, an extension of the WWE business model. Because I understood. WWE studios opened 2003, 2004. They began to film movies. The model of the business was, if we can make our stars bigger stars, more people will come to see WWE. Well, that's what I wanted. But I didn't want to go do movies. And the process of making a movie is so different. It takes a long time. Yeah. It takes a lot of people. And there's nobody cheering you on. And as a younger man, I really was drawn, and still am, like to the dynamic of the live audience and the live experience of just get out there and see what happens. But 15 years of telling stories in the WWE ring and the constant passion, loving my job every day, I begin to ask, over the years, I ask why. And as a young man, you don't have the perspective, like because I want to be champion and I want to do this and that. And then now, after all these years, it's like, why do I still love this? I love telling stories, man. I love telling stories. And that's something I didn't enjoy on multiple platforms in 2005, 2006. And now you see, I enjoy helping with morning shows or doing Tonight Show bits or hosting, doing R-rated comedies, doing family movies, still being in the WWE, being on reality TV. I think that I'm just drawn to the creative process. And now, I guess now with more experience and a more comfortable feeling in my own right in the WWE, I'm okay and confident enough to use those skills elsewhere.
I mean, in this you have to use your comedic skills, and I think, I mean, speaking as a film critic, obviously you might feel differently, but I feel like you've really found your voice on screen in comedy.
Please, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I want to get to your question. I don't just want to blurt something out. So, okay, thank you very much.
What made you gravitate towards comedy, and how did you find your comedic voice on screen?
I don't think it's a gravity. I think it's an ability to not be worried about what other people think. And I think as a young talent, as a young superstar in WWE, because entertainment is so fickle, and one day it can be there and one day it can't, you are just so worried about doing the wrong thing because you're so worried that it'll all be over. And you get to a certain point, and trust me, I have great perspective on this, where I've been fortunate enough to say when like people ask, well, what did you do for a living? My answer is I'm a storyteller. I get that, and I get that one day that will end, but I've been able to make a living out of it. So I'm to the point now where, especially in front of live audiences that eat you alive, you know, there's an entire audience, a chance Cena sucks when I come out there. So you gotta understand this is a decade and a half of being viewed by a large portion of the audience as the not coolest MF that walks the planet. So I've already been called everything. I've already been criticized. I've already been fed to the wolves, so to speak. I'll just be me, and I'll go for it, and you hit some and you miss some, and then that's that. But at least you're not performing and holding back. And I think that's a lot of the case in comedy, because a lot of it is just experience of our life put out there for people to digest, and you have to be vulnerable enough to be like, hey, laugh at this part of my life, laugh at my confusion, laugh at my setbacks, laugh at my failures, laugh at my emotional distress. And that, like, to me, that's what a lot of comedy is. It's being able to purge yourself of that, and people in an environment where people laugh at it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on Edge and Christian's podcast, you were talking about how, I guess, what for the next generation, really what they need to focus on is taking risks. And
yes.
Going out there and, you know, not worrying about what people are going to be thinking.
Yes.
Trying something new. Not worrying about what Vince is thinking about.
Yeah.
How are you applying that to your film career?
By reading stories and attaching myself to them. If I can't read a script in one sitting, it's out. And I don't care how good it is, and I don't care who's doing it. I would be doing the production, the director, and the cast a disservice if I didn't attach to the story. So step one is loving the material. Like, I love wrestling. It's why wrestling is, I don't want to say easy, but I have a home there, and I can take the pieces and create something that I feel people will attach themselves to. That was what made me successful in WWE. So I'm taking the same approach to movies. Step one, read it and love it. And then step two, don't be married to a certain facet of the story. Read it and love it, but I have to play character A. He's the guy that writes all the agreements and like, hey, this is the movie we're gonna do. There are films where I just want to be in this because it's that important, and like any way I can help out, which is also a key to my success in the WWE. Any way I can possibly be out there to show my craft, to contribute to this. But if it's something you read and it's something you're passionate about, you understand all the pieces, and you can fit pretty much anywhere. Well, they want you to be there. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, no problem. I got that. So acting is very interpretive, very different for everybody. But it's the art of telling stories, and when you tell a good story, a captivating story, you have to be comfortable. So these little tricks that I'm kind of developing now through looking back at my 15 years in WWE to see like what was it about that made my heart beat every day and still does. I just kind of use those things and translate them into the big screen. And then once I get attached to something, having faith in the people making it. No matter if it's a first-time director or an experienced director, I trust in them, and I always have a conversation with them and say, listen, I'm just getting my feet wet in this. It's also because it's their movie, very much like it's Vince's story. I can go to Vince and just ask, like, this is the story you want. This is how I would like to create it. Oh, that's fine. You have this same relationship with the director. So I think it's also like understanding where you are. I don't play director. because I'm not the director. I don't play Vince because I'm not Vince. So I mean, once again, it's just my perspective, but it's also a successful model that's worked in something. And I tried it. I tried movies before, and man, it was like pulling teeth because I didn't use that approach, and I ended up growing a very poor taste in my mouth towards movies. And then I was like, why? It doesn't correlate. And it wasn't until later on in my career that I realized that it's not that I'm hateful towards movies or I don't appreciate the process. I was just choosing the wrong projects.
Which was the turning point for you when you really fell in love with film?
When I got to be an idiot. Because I'm an idiot. If you look at the stuff I do in WWE, yes, there comes a time when the line is crossed. And I do have moral ethos, and I fight for that. But in front of the audience, I'm not afraid to be part of the joke. I'm not afraid to put my life out there. Every time, in a very genuine sense, and you can ask anybody I've ever stood in the ring with, I always tell them, come at me with your best shot. Mm. So it's being comfortable enough in your environment to just enjoy it and see what happens. And like I said, I guess it's the repeated, I have the WWE universe to thank, because it's the repeated process of facing that sort of adversity every day and then it never getting to you, and you'd be like, nah, sun's still up, still a good time, still a good day. So I don't know, I guess that once again, I'm very thankful and happy for all this stuff, and I realize that one day it's there and the next day it's gone. So I'm enjoying it right now, and I'm trying to figure out like what is it about this that worked? Why did it work? But not too obsessive, because you don't want to like make it this weird formula and then it all breaks and then it's all gone. Yeah.
I mean,
just one more question.
That's all right. You're the last one for the day,
amazing.
so take your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll have to go away.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the projects that you've turned down, I mean, obviously having a stringent schedule, having a stringent selection process, what are some of the projects that you did turn down in film?
Schedule's not a problem, and that's one of my strong points, to make time out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, man.
Well, because I love all the stuff that I'm doing. Like, and we're doing a pretty whirlwind tour, but it's easy because I love the movie, man. Like, it's easy to sit down and you talk with them about the movie, about the book, about WWE, about stuff coming up. Stuff that I've turned down, it hasn't, I mean, a lot of it because it's just fortunate enough to be in the last few years hasn't even made it to the screen yet. And a lot of the stuff that I did turn down was similar style action direct-to-DVD movies between 2007 and 2014. I had a wonderful opportunity to make a hell of a living off of doing those projects, and turned down more than I could remember because I would rather be in the ring. And then along came the movies that began to give me confidence, believe it or not. I love doing the Fred movies. I lived in a refrigerator as the WWE John Cena character and got to be the biggest goofball ever, and then realized like, whoa, this is fun again. And then started to cut my teeth on hosting some ESPN stuff, and then a little bit with the Today Show, and then continuously doing night show bits, like, and then I began to like, wow, but it was all because I felt comfortable. I guess back that long ago, I just didn't feel comfortable, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons, obviously, that you're going out there and dealing with a crowd that's, you know, booing you, saying John Cena sucks, even if it might be in jest at this point.
Even if it's not, they're entitled to say what they want.
Yeah, true. There's always that one guy. But one of the main reasons...
There's more than one guy.
Fair. But, I mean, if I'm to speculate, one of the reasons that you stick to, the characters stick to the ethos of your character is you're thinking about the kids in the audience. You're thinking about the Make-A-Wish kids who are coming to you, the people who have, you know, talked about how they helped their mother get over cancer because of what you inspired in them. So how much of that do you see in a project like Ferdinand, where you also have a really strong message as well?
I think it's great when you can put together a project that people are attached to that can also begin to talk about things like that. And it's great that you can talk about a character essentially in professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and be able to do your job and affect people outside of your job. That's really important. Now keep in mind, once again, I'm not Vince. So if Vince tells me tomorrow he wants me to be a bad guy, I'll take my best shot at being the best bad guy I can. But you got to understand that while I'm supposed to do things the way I'm supposed to do them, how I paint with the paintbrush is up to me. And I'm very aware firsthand, because of the people I meet, the effect that something as simple as WWE can have on their lives. That's really cool, man, to be able to do something like that, to make a movie like this, and for people to watch the movie, which is that's the intention, and laugh and cry and do whatever. But then after the movie's over, to be like, wow, that was good. I'm going to take something away and either talk about it, or maybe modify my life about it, or maybe it'll help me get through a tough time. That, to me, I get more satisfaction out of, hey man, you helped me through a real tough time, than like, hey man, that match was great. Because we have so many matches all the time. And when they remember single matches, they don't necessarily remember you. You know, when they remember single matches for, like, oh man, that match with Punk, yeah, it was great when he walked out with the title. Because what a story of man against establishment. And I think that's why that rings. But like, if I asked any of those people to tell me 3 or 4 moves in that match, I've got to put myself in a corner because I only have 3 or 4 moves, so they tell me my 3 or 4 moves. But it's the story of the match. And a lot of those times when we tell those stories, it affects people's lives outside of that seat in the arena. And dude, that is the coolest feeling ever.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you want to go from here? What projects do you... I mean, obviously, you have Bumblebee coming up.
Yep.
How's that going so far, by the way?
Wrapped. All good.
Done?
I know all the secrets.
Obviously, you've signed 10,000 NDAs.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So
I think it's going to be a wonderful way to keep a great franchise alive. I really am excited for it.
Excellent. And where are you going to go from there?
Calendar-wise, Road to WrestleMania is right around the corner.
Sure.
I got some other stuff in the works for 18, stuff that's already in the can. But once again, we'll talk about that hopefully when we need to talk about it, when I'm back in the UAE.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone you want to, obviously, it's not up to you in the end. If you could pick one person to be facing at WrestleMania next year.
Oh, I never am in the picking business, man. And that's another thing that ruins. I really mentioned that I might have mentioned that on Edge and Christian's podcast. You can't be, don't play Vince when you're not Vince. Yeah. I think the best way to love what you do in that respect is like, hey, here's what's going to happen. And you turn around and say, I'm going to make this effing awesome. So.
Excellent. All right, I won't keep it anymore.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Great pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Great job.
Yeah, I was saving the best for last for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was